Okay, hello guys, and welcome again with a new video. We are in lesson 3 of the Java CSS, and we go for the advanced animation of the Java CSS, guys. In lesson 2, we just add a simple animation as a message come up. As you can see right now, we have a back option, as you can see, and we have open option, and you can add a more style, more text, more other thing if you like it, just like this. And yeah, for the lesson 3, we want to go for the advanced CSS. Let me just show you the animation, what we're gonna add. As you can see right now, this is the animation of the lesson 3. And if you use it, click on the back option. If you don't like of this article, just click on the back option. As you can see, the animation reset to the same of this. Okay, if you're ready guys, let's do it. I'm sorry. Okay, first let me add a hero. Okay, now for the hero, I'm gonna add the header for my logo. Java CSS lesson 3. Okay, this is our header. Now first let me just tell you what we're gonna add. First I'm gonna need an image and a text or a link to click on a link. So first let me just add a center image as always, because we want be a center this image, and I name it a simple name, just like I said, center image. And now let me just add the image, and I'm sorry, image lot. Okay, yeah, okay, and this is our image, as you can see in the first video. Now let me add a link, but instead of that, because it's a learning video, so I'm gonna add, instead of a link, I'm gonna add a p. I want to be a p instead of a link. Okay, now let me add a game information. Okay, we just create this text. Let me just show you. I just added this style, star margin 0, padding 0, and yeah, with this font size for the H1 and the P, with this max width. Now let me just see what we need more. Okay, we just created this image and this text. Okay, if you see here, we have this animation. So how we create this of this square as animation? So let me just show you real quick. And you can see this is a square that we created with a CSS. So we're gonna create the same, and we just add animation of the line, and we're gonna add animation with this square to start from the left to go to the right. And for this next one of the line, we want this be at bottom to go for the top. And the next line of the line 3, we want this right be in the left, go to the left. We just repeat this animation for this create a line as a simple animation, and just need to know where is a left and the right to add a nice animation for the Java CSS. And let me just create it guys to show you. And in a Java CSS, I'm gonna show you step by step how we're gonna add a left and the top and the bottom for the line to start the animation. So let me just show you. Okay, first let me just create a line 1, line 2, oh, I'm sorry, line 2. Oh, you know what, let me just copy. Okay, I think this is enough. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, 9. I don't think we need a 10. If you like it to add the 10, you can add it, but I don't think we need it. So yeah, this is our line that we're gonna create it, and we're gonna add a Java CSS for the nice animation with a Java CSS. And yeah, and the last thing I want to add it before we go for the CSS, I'm gonna add this message that this image and this text come up after the animation of the line. So let me just name it simple here, and let me add oh yes, center. Let me inside of this center image. I'm sorry guys. Okay, and now inside the hero I'm gonna add message, and let me just name it a grid. I'm gonna name it this. Okay, let me add image, the same image, and with a little text. So for the text, okay, let me add a h1 last night p Lauren Tim. Okay, and for this p as a link as a back option. So we just create this HTML. Now for the CSS, let me just start quick to go for the Java CSS. Okay, first I'm gonna start with a hero. I'm gonna add position relative with 100% height on pH. Let me add overflow hidden, and we need overflow hidden because we get overflow X because we're gonna add a line in the right. This is why we get overflow X, and this is needed. And let me add a background for this background. Yeah, this is the first color and this is the second color. Okay, now let me just add a header to go for the message. Header, I'm gonna add a padding 10 pixel 4%. Okay, good. Okay, first let me just start with the styling of this image. So first let me just add a center image. Now I want to add a width 400 pixel height, and let me add the position absolute to be a center. Sorry, let me just, okay. Top 50%, left 50%, transform translate minus 50%, minus 50%. Now it's center. Okay, very good. And we're gonna hide this, the last message. So first, let me add a center image, a P, as a link. If you've seen the first video, so first let me just copy this, paste it. And I'm gonna start like a link. So I'm gonna add the position be the same, absolute. We don't need this. Okay, the top be 85% instead of 50%. And now let me just add a padding 7 pixel, 25 pixel, and let me add a border radius 30 pixel. Now let me add a background transparent, and the last one is a box shadow to create it 0 pixel, 0 pixel, 0 pixel, 7 pixel of this color. Okay, let me just copy, paste it, the same color, and let me be a 10 pixel instead of a 7 pixel. Okay, as you can see it, this is a link. And let me add a cursor pointer. Yeah, now it's better. Okay, next. So first, let me just add. I think I name it. Yes, I name it a grid. So I'm gonna add it here. Grid. I'm gonna add a display grid instead of flex. Grid instead of flex, and the flex grid template column. Repeat to 1FR. And align term be a center. Okay, now let me just add a position absolute be a center, just like this image. So copy paste it here, and let me add a grid gap to have a space more. Okay, yeah, now it's better. And let me just add a width 100%. Now let me just style off this image. Let me add the width 600 pixel. Height 92, okay, display block, and the margin 0. I thought to be a center instead of that. and let me add a filter. The color of the image be the same of this background, so I'm gonna add a filter hue rotate, and I'm gonna add 45 degree. Yeah, this color, yes, this color is good. And let me add the border radius 20 pixel. Let me add opacity 0, transition, okay, I'm sorry, transition 1 second, linear 26. Okay. And I'm gonna explain what the transition needed for this animation, so just wait for it. Now next, let me add the text to add opacity 0. Very good. Yeah. Oh, let me just turn off this. Okay. Yeah. Oh yes, let me just add a filter just like this. So I'm gonna just copy this, paste it for this center image. So let me just add a transition. Once again, cubic bezier 0.4 and 2 1 1. Okay, less than 1 second. Very good. Yeah, very nice. And we don't need to add a hover because I just want it to be simple, and I just want to go for fast with the Java CSS. And let me just add a text p nth child 3 because I want to add a margin button. Instead of talking, let me just show you what we need to add it here. So if you see, we have a space for this back option. I'm gonna name it here text p nth child 3 as a link. I want to style it just like this, center p. So I'm gonna just copy this, paste it here. Very simple. The padding be the same, border radius 30 pixels be the same, background and the box shadow be the same, and let me just add a width 90 pixels. Okay, let me just see it. Yeah, it's beautiful. Yeah, it's beautiful. Now let me start with a line. If we don't need to add something more, center image B, I think everything it's fine. Yeah, now let's go to create a line for this, the first line, line 2, line 3 and line 4, and we just repeat it, and we're gonna add a Java CSS to create it as animation for us. So the first line, I'm gonna start with a line 1. I'm gonna add a content empty 100% height 30%, and the background, let me just copy this of the hero page, paste it here for the background. Okay, now let me just copy this box shadow of this, paste it here, and what we need else, yeah, I think we need a position absolute. So position be absolute for this. Let me just copy this, paste it here. Top 84%. Yeah, as you can see, this is the first line. As you can see, which is at the bottom of this, we just add the top instead of the bottom. And let me add a minus 50%, I think. Oh, you know what? Let it be 55%. And when we add a Java CSS, I'm gonna add a 50% to start the animation from the left to the right, if you understand this. So this is the first line, and let me just add a transition. Let me just copy this, the transition, paste it here. Okay, 1 second, and let me edit this. 1 second. Okay, let me just finish off other line, and I'm gonna explain how to use a transition for this Java CSS. Just add a border radius, a little border radius, 5 pixels. Now just copy this, paste it for the line 2, line 3, line 4, line 5. Okay, I think this is enough. Line 2, line 3, line 4, line 5, line 6, line 7, line 8, and line 9. Here we go. Just delete it. Okay, now for the line 2, which is the bottom, and we're gonna add a Java CSS for the top to go for the top. Okay, so for the line 2, let a left be a 90% for this left, and now for the top, let me just add a rotate instead of changing the height and the width. So let me just add a rotate 90 degree, and now as you can see which is a start from the bottom to the top. So yes, so I'm gonna add this top be a 20% or 25% to go for the bottom, and we're gonna add a 90% to go for the top. Okay, yes, now it's good. This is a line 2, and we just add a rotate instead of adding width and the height. For this transition, let me 3 seconds, 0.3 seconds. Now for the line 3, the rotate of this, let me 180 degree to just change of this rotate of the line. Okay, the top is 16%. I'm sorry guys, the top is 16%, and the left, let me just see in a 50%. Yeah, for this line 3, I'm gonna add a left 160% or 150%, doesn't matter, because I'm gonna need it to be a right side instead of the left side, and when animation is started, it's go for the left of the 0%. Okay, and for this transition, let be a 5 seconds. Let me just finish it. For this line 4, let be a left 10% minus 150%. 150%. Okay, 0.7. Okay, for the line 5 and the line 6, let me just add the left. The left be the same, no need to change it. And for this, the top be 80%. I'm gonna add a little height for this, little more height. Let be a 40%. For this be a 40%, and this be a 40%, and this be a 40%. Okay. Now for this line 5, yep. Let me just change of this transition when we go for the next. Okay. Now for the line 6. Line 6 left be 80%. 88. And the top, just like this line 2. For this transition, let me just 1.1. Line 7 left be 160%, and the top be 20%, which is this line 3. Oh, I'm sorry, this be line 7. This be line 7. Okay, for this line 8. Now for this line 8, I want to be a left 11%, and for this top, let be a minus to be a bottom. Okay, let me this. For this, let me okay. Now for this. Okay, for this, the line 9, I want to be on the full screen, which is a height 100 VH. So let me add a left minus 55% and the top 50%. And I'm gonna add a Java CSS for this left to be a 50% to go in the center, just like this. Okay. Now I'm gonna explain how we're gonna add a Java CSS of the animation. So first, let me just add the ID and the onClick for this HTML. I'm gonna start with this center image as here, and I'm gonna add ID. I'm gonna name it image1, the first image, and for this image 2, the second image. Okay, now for the text, I'm gonna add this onClick to start the animation, Okay, the unclick we start at the simple name, and for this text, which is have the opacity 0, I'm gonna add a text 1. Yeah, very simple, very good. And for this a back option, I'm gonna add a back option. Unclick. Oh, I'm sorry. Unclick. Back. Let me just remove this. Okay. Okay, let me just add this transition for this. The same transition, guys. Very good. Yeah. Now it's better. Very good. Okay. First, let me just name it in a Java CSS. First, let me just, oh, I'm sorry, I just forgot about this line. I'm gonna name it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Simple name for this. 2, 3, 4, 5. Let me just do it quick. Okay, now let me just add it here. Let one document get elementary ID 1. Very simple. Okay, now let me just copy for this 2, 3, 4, 5 for this line. Okay, we just add a new name for this line as 1, 2, 3, 4, and we're gonna add animation for this line. So first, let me just add a more as image 1 and image 2 and the text 1. So let me just copy this, paste it. Okay, first image 1, which is this image, as you can see it. I name it image 1. Image 2, the next image. And the text 1. Okay, let me the text 1 and this be text 1. Image 2, image. Okay, very simple. Now let me start. So we have this function of unclick of the start. So let me just add a function of the unclick for this Java CSS. Start. Oh. Okay. Now what I need first line, which is here of this left. Okay, let me just show you guys the first line. As you can see, we have a left minus 55%, which is here. Now I'm gonna add a left 50% to see it. Left 49%. Now it's gonna show you in this website. So as you can see, the first line, it's here, show you. The next line, I'm gonna here to be this, the third line be this, fourth line be this. We're gonna keep this the same. So let me just copy this, paste it. Okay, 2, 8, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. Now for the line 2, I'm sorry. Now for the line 2, we have this top, which is here in the bottom. I want to be here, right here. So what we need to add here for the top, I'm gonna add a top 85. I think this is good. Let me just add a top 85%. And we're gonna see it the next line. This is the first line. Oh, I'm just at the left for this. I'm sorry, guys. Yes, this is the first line and this is the next line. So you can see it. Okay, now for the third line, we add a left. Let me just see it. Now for the third line, we add a rotate. And I think I didn't add the rotate for the line 4. I'm sorry. the line 4. Let me add a rotate 270 degree for this rotate of the line 4. Very good. Now the next line of the line 5, no need to add this, but we're just gonna just copy this for this line 6 and the 7 and 8. For this line 7 be this rotate, and for the last line of the line 8, which is the same of this line 4, the same style, but we add a height for this, be a rotate of this. Okay, now it's good, and yeah, no need for this to add a rotate. Okay, very good. Now as I said, guys, I'm sorry, because we had a transition, this is happened, I'm sorry for this. So okay, this is a 2. Now for this a 3. Now for the third line, we have this, let me just show you, we have a left of this 160%, which is now in the right, is here. So we're gonna add a left 50%, same, or you know what, 51%. And for this top, which is here, I'm gonna add 15%. This is a line 4. We have a top minus this. We have a top minus 100, which is here. I'm gonna add a top to go here, right here. Okay. Now we're gonna add the same of the top left for this 5, 6, 7, 8. So for this top of this, which is the same of this 5 here. Okay, the top of this. Let me just copy paste it. 6, and for this 7. Okay, and for this 8, the last one. Now let's see, guys. As you can see it, we just created, and this is a line 9 that we created. I'm gonna add a height for it to be a full page to see it. So what we're gonna add it here, this is a line 9 that we have. Let me just show you. We add the same the top, and we add the left 50% to be the same of this page, and I'm gonna add a height 100%. We add a height of 30%. Let me just show you. Okay, let be a 50%, and the height 100%. Okay, and as you can see it right here. Wow. Okay, now let me just explain how this animation working. So first, as you can see, we add this transition that make this happen. So let me just explain what we needed for this an animation of the line. As you can see, just like I explained in lesson 2, this number, or this number, let me just tell you, this number, that means the line 6 after 1 second start the animation to start to be on this to top be 85%. This is why I add this number to start after few seconds. So if I just remove this to show you what happened, okay, let me just show you. You can see the animation, it's start faster, but just like I said, if I just add this after 1 second, I add this linear as a sample started for this. You can see we get a better animation, better started for this animation, and here, as you can see, very simple, but you need to practice. And I didn't add a cubic bezier because linear is better and have a slow animation, to start it. This is why I add this linear instead of is in or is out. So if I just add is in, you can see what's happened. I'm gonna do it quick. Okay, now we add is in instead of linear to show you it's the same animation but a little different from the linear. But just like I said, we need this number to add it and increase it for this line 8, line 9, line 7 to start it after 1 second or after 2 seconds. Just like I said, we want the animation started later instead of started fast. So this is why I add this number. Let me just go back for this linear. Okay, now let me just add a last thing, which is have a text opacity 0 and this image opacity 0. So I'm gonna add it here. I name it image 2 and the text 1. I'm gonna add it here, guys, very fast. Image 2 and the text 1. I'm gonna add opacity 1. Opacity 1. And just like I said, this Java CSS is very simple, but you need to think what you need for this animation. Get a nice and perfect animation for your website. So yes, let me just show you now. And you can see we get this of this image. Now we want to add a back option to reset of this. So I'm gonna explain two ways to use it. The first way is very simple, but we have a problem with the first way. And the next way, it's very hard to explain it. But first, let me just explain the first or easiest way. You know what? Let me just add a translate for this text to add a nice animation for this. So I'm gonna add a transform. Now I'm gonna add a transform to get a little left and right for this translate x minus 70x. Let me just copy, paste it instead of typing there. Okay. Now I'm gonna add a transform for this image 1, which is have a transform translate x 0. I'm gonna add a transform translate x minus 20 pixel, and for this 20 pixel instead of minus 20 pixel, and you're gonna see it. It's now better animation. Let me just show you line 2, line 3, and here we go. You can see we get a nice animation. And if you don't like of this, you can add this 20 pixel and this minus 20 pixel. A nice animation. So let me just show you again. You can see we get a nice left and the right. And you can add more instead of a translate x. You can add the left and the right, and you can add the top and left instead of this, just like I said. Now for this back option, let me just copy this, paste it. Very simple. The easiest way, just like I said, guys, just add onset. So if you add onset, that means the first line that added here, that we added for this left 50%, for example, that means the onset, it's a delete the style and it go back to the same style of the first one. So I'm gonna add an onset. Okay, guys, as you can see, oh, by the way, let me just, I'm sorry, I'm just forget. Let me just add opacity 0 for this image 1. I'm gonna add opacity 0. And let me add delete this. Okay. Image 1. Okay, and let me add it here. Okay, now let's see what's happened. Well, this is the easiest way to reset the problem and go back to the same style. But here is a bad problem we get here. You can see this animation, it's not good. I don't like using onset, because this is a problem with this, and just like I said. And why this happened, if you see here, because at this line 9, as you can see, we add, let me just show you, we add this line 9 a transition of this 1 second to start it after 1 second, this animation. This is why the onset is not good when you use this. So the next option, or the next way to use it, you just copy this and paste it here. And let me just add a back option. Okay, what you're gonna do, this is one of the style after this left. You just go for this line 1 here, just copy this, paste it there. Very simple. Here, very simple. And instead of this transition, instead of the 3 transition, I'm gonna add this transition of the 9 to get a better effect when you go back to the same style. I'm gonna explain better to understand for this, but let me just copy paste it from this line 2, line 3 of this top left. This is our top. Just copy and paste it instead of this to the same top, line 3 of this left. Copy, paste it. Just add the same style of the top and the left from the first line and the 2. Okay. Now for this oh, I'm sorry, the left. Okay. And you know what? Let me just copy this instead of that. Just copy this, paste it. The top be 80. This. Okay. Yes. And for this 3, which is the same of this 7, just copy paste it here. Okay. Now for this 4, which is 8, let me just copy, paste it for this 8. There we go. Now let me just show you. Oh yes, I just forgot about the 9. And we add the 30%. There we go. Now this is of this, and yeah, you know what, let me just remove this. Yeah, I think now it's better. Now let's see this animation without this transition, guys. You know, let me just copy, delete. Okay, now let's see what's happening. It's just like an onset, which is the same. Okay, now for this back option, you can see just like this onset. But if you add a transition of the 9 here instead of this transition of the line 1, okay, we get a better effect for this. So I just copy this, paste it for this and 9, and instead of line 1. Okay, hope you understand, guys. You just have a tricky for this. It's just a tricky and using Java CSS for this back option. Okay, which is the 5, 5, same, no need to change it. And for this 6, be 4, which is a reverse of the transition, guys. Just like I said, just a trick and need to think what you need for this Java CSS of the animation. I just reverse of the transition, and instead of the same, using the same transition for this, and the line 8 be a line 2. Okay. Now I'm going to show you what's going to happen, but let me just add here the transition of this for this image 1, be a transition of this. Okay, and for this let me just copy this for this to hide it faster instead of 1 second, guys. So yes, now let's see it. You get this nice animation. This is the first animation with a transition of after 1 second started, but this you can see we get a nice and better animation, but we didn't hide it. I'm sorry. Image 200. Okay, now let's see it again. You can see in the back option we get a nice and better animation instead of using onset, because the transition that we added for this 1, I just reverse it instead of the 9. So I just add a 9 after transition, which is this after 1 second here, and this line 1 of this transition, which is a start faster, I'm gonna add it here in a 9 to start faster for this 9 to go back to the same line. This is a trick, and just like I said, it's real tricky and real hard to use it this way for this transition. But if you don't like a hard way, you can use a onset instead of that, and go back to the same of this function, and go back to the same of this animation, guys, just like I said. There we go. And yeah, but guys, just like I say, we get overflow if just I remove this overflow, and you can see we get this overflow because we added here, and for this overflow here, just like I said, I add overflow, just hidden this. Okay, just like I said, guys, this is the whole lesson of this this animation of the web page. Just this last of this back option, I know this is the hard way of learn it, and hope you guys learn it, because I know this is the hard way of using a transition for this animation. I just hope you learn it and how to use a Java CSS to get a better animation for your website. You can see we get overflow. The problem is this, we just add here of this line 2, we add a top of this, and for this we add the right, we get overflow. So we just add overflow to just remove it, and this overflow of XY, it's working for this phone, but overflow X hidden doesn't work for the phone. This is a bad problem with onset. Just like I said, this animation get it's not better from this back option. So just like I said, guys, I'm sorry for this way, but yeah, and see you in lesson 4, guys.